PCT Oregon day 12, I believe. Just left Whitefish Horse Camp, entering Diamond Peak Wilderness. I guess I misread my half-mile app. It looked like the Skyline Trail was only 5 more miles from here into Oda Lake, or Shelter Cove. That's actually the last junction. It is in 5 miles at Diamond View Lake, but there's still another 5 miles, I guess, beyond that. I'm hoping not, but that's the way it looks, because I can't find the trail actually on any map. When I'm on it, half mile says I'm on it, but I don't see an overview anymore. It used to be on Gut Hooks, it used to be on the PCT app. It's not on either anymore. So anyway, I thought I had maybe just 5 into Shelter Cove. Should be a nice, I don't know, 2.5 max hour. I got up at 6, be there by 8:30. Breakfast is at 8. But if I have 10, you're talking closer to 4.5, 5 hours. And it was freezing this morning, so I waited a little longer till 6:30 to get up, and my clothes were all still a little damp from the lake. Socks were a little damp, so I threw them inside my quilt to warm them up and waited on that a little bit. So it's still freezing. My hands are just, whew. I'm trying to hike as quick as possible. The sun's creeping behind me, but it's just not busting through the trees yet. And from what I remember of this hike, it's a lot like this, so I don't know when it will. Hopefully it just warms up in general. So anyway, could be 5 miles, could be 10. I'm thinking closer to 10 when I look on Google Maps and kind of get an idea for it, but it's hard to say exactly which way the trail goes because it's not on the map. So I don't have service now. Had spotty service last night, so my friend might be trying to message me and tell me when he's getting dropped off, or he might not have service. So at any point I could just see him walking down the trail towards me if he finds the trail, or I'll just meet him at Shelter Cove, or hopefully I'll have service at Shelter Cove and get messaged from him if something went different. So that's the plan. Hurry this morning, get to breakfast, and try to get warm. Okay, doke. So bad news is as I feared. It's a 10 mile, not a 5 mile. Good news is I'm just about halfway. Some pond along the way. Oh, some bridge. Anyway, that'll put me into Shelter Cove. I don't know, roughly 11:30. Hoping they serve breakfast that long. Feels like this chase for breakfast. Came in late to, what was it? Hyatt Lake Reservoir. So I have no breakfast there. Came in late to Fish Lake, no breakfast there. I guess I did have breakfast with my parents at the Waffle Hut, but as far as resorts on trail, oh no, Fish Lake. Oh, didn't fall. Fish Lake, I did have biscuits and gravy, that's right. But they had French toast on the menu. And they were all out. So that was kind of a letdown. So that's why I probably didn't remember that. Biscuits and gravy were good though. And then no breakfast at Crater Lake. And then we'll see about what time I get into Shelter Cove today. I don't know if Elk Lake has a breakfast or not. I've only been there later in the day, so depending on what time we get there and if I stay over, maybe there. Alright, so about 5 more miles, I think. I should be there. Got a text or a message from my friend that he's on his way. I assume that's leaving Eugene, it should still probably put him at Shelter Cove before I get there, but I don't know how much longer. So he might just hang out there, or if he can find the trail, he might head down it. So we shall see. Hoping it warms up soon. It's kind of the positive about this being longer is that if I would have got into Shelter Cove, say like 9, I had breakfast and then taken a shower, and did laundry. The problem with laundry is outside of the stuff I need washed, I've got like one pair of underwear and my rain jacket. So that's what I'm going to be wearing while the clothes get washed, which is pretty typical of hikers, so it's not like it's going to be out of the norm for around there. And if it's too cold, I just bust my quilt out and find a place to sit in the sun or something. But yeah, with it being, if I would have got in earlier, it might have been harder to find a spot in the sun. It might have been super cold coming out of the shower and the laundry and all that. So later in the day, it might be better, find a place in the sun, stay warm while the clothes do their thing. I'm hoping they have a pretty efficient system at Shelter Cove, that's what everyone says. Because you're a hiker, you don't have soap, you don't bring a towel with you, you know, everything's very limited. So a lot of places it's like a flat fee, and you have access to their shower, they give you a towel, they give you soap, they give you soap for the laundry thing. It's kind of all one price, which would be really nice. Some of them are all coin operated, and some places, I've noticed this with hotels a lot too when we were doing in RV parks. When we started the trail back in March, some of the front desks are very aware of what the laundry costs. And so if you're saying, hey, you want to do a load of laundry? Yeah, like you're going to need $5-6 in quarters. So you give them the money and they give you that, so you don't have to go all the way to the machine, find out what you need, come back, ask them for exactly. It's like, they work there. They should know how much the laundry is. Same thing with some of the showers or coin operated showers I've heard at these resorts. I've never used one. At the RV parks, it was all just if you're a guest, you could use the showers. And they varied from super nice and super new to old and scary. But a shower's a shower when you haven't had one in days. I think I'm on day 6 or 7. So anyway, I don't know if they're coin operated. If that's the case, do the people at the desk know? You know, is it 3 minutes for $1? Is it, you know, kind of your length? So you can kind of guesstimate and make sure you've got all the quarters. Or is it one of those things where you go to the shower, check everything out, and then come back? It'd be so nice to get there, order food, and then kind of have the laundry, shower arrangement thing taken care of and do it kind of all in one foul swoop, and then charge everything while I'm waiting on laundry to finish, and then in theory have one more meal before we leave. It's 8 miles. I think I said this yesterday, to the Maiden Peak shelter from there's another lake through there, or a pond. That might be Diamond View Lake. We'll see up here. There'd be an opening. Anyway, 8 miles to Maiden Peak shelter from Shelter Cove, roughly. So my thought is, if he's cool with staying there, which is a cool place. I've never stayed, but I've been there multiple times. Most PCT hikers don't stay there because it's so close to Shelter Cove. If they're leaving in the morning, they're going to go farther than 8 miles. And if they weren't going to leave and they're going to stay, they stay at Shelter Cove where there's food. So I don't know that it gets used a ton for overnight PCT hikers, unless they're just doing a small day like we'd be doing. So anyway, we'd have to leave. It's getting dark at like 9, so I don't know how late he wants to hike. Up to 8 miles, let's say, at a slower pace, because it is some uphill. I don't know what he's used to. 4 hours, so if we leave by 4, because they're at 8, we leave by 5, guess they're there by 9. Just kind of depends on how much daylight we want when we get there. Also, I have no idea gear-wise what he's got as far as I'm not concerned about much of it. It's like, whatever, we'll figure it out. Just the sleeping bag is going to be warm enough at night, because if you can't get warm, like, what the heck are you going to do? Everything else you can kind of make do with. If you got too heavy of a pack, or too much food, or he doesn't have, I don't know, enough of this or that, I can kind of help him out at Shelter Cove before we leave. And I've got filter you can use, and a lot of stuff doubles, so that's not a big deal. But if he doesn't have a warm enough sleeping bag, so that's the good thing about staying at the shelter the first night. And also, there's Diamond Peak. Oh. So all my PCT buddies, through hikers from yesterday, are up there somewhere. The trail, I doubt they got this far yesterday. I'm guessing. Well, I don't know. They're pretty. If they did, I'm trying to think. They were at least 16 miles when I left at Wendigo Pass. If they did 6 more, I think it's the Summit Lake, which is down that way. There are mosquitoes here. There's a campsite, which I don't know if anyone made it. I bet it was cold. But like let's see. Oh, don't focus on me. Right at the base there, there's like room for 1 tent. It's such a cool spot. Right above the tree line. I don't know if anyone made it that far last night. I mean, even if you make it that far, because I camped. Goodness gracious, mosquitoes. I camped just south of that last time and walked up at one the next day and was like, gosh dang it. So waited and camped there. But even from there, it was like 15 miles. And once you come down the mountain, or down the mountainside, you get over kind of in that area. You get one last view. There's a big open valley. You get one last view of Diamond Peak. Then you turn a corner and you're literally in like green tunnel for like the last 13 miles. Like there's no view of anything. You're just, I mean, not even this great. This is open in comparison, like all just closed in and back and forth and back and forth. And you get to that point where you can hear the road like 5 miles out, but you got to do 8 switchbacks back and forth. It's almost all downhill, but I don't know. It's one of those where you have a destination in mind. I'm sure for them, some of them said they were like 10 days out from a shower. A lot of them are taking 0 days at Shelter Cove. A lot of them are renting cabins or rooms or whatever. Like when you know you're doing that, and your mind gets in that state of, oh, this is happening. You're like so excited, and it makes the miles feels like you're never gonna get there. So anyway, if this is Diamond View, which I'm pretty sure it is because there's a view of Diamond Peak, then should be about 5 miles out, which is crazy because when I hiked this a couple of years ago, I feel like I came upon Diamond View like really quickly out of Shelter Cove. But that's been a lot of years ago, and a lot of different trails and miles, so maybe not. So yeah, next stop, Shelter Cove and food. Check this out. Of course, the camera doesn't do distance justice, but that's a heck of a ways down. It's kind of cool walking beside the stream. Or, yeah, I think Summit Stream, Summit Creek, Summit something, I think. Anyway, I'm down to 2 miles out from Shelter Cove. The surroundings have definitely changed. Like this looks more like in near Multnomah, which I'd love to do. But because of the water, everything's all green and the sound of water everywhere. It's like, what a difference between just that and 2 miles back. A lot drier and not a lot of green. So yeah, I think about 2 miles. I'm ready. I went down to the lake last night and washed my socks and legs and arms as best I could. Trying to be careful not to get too wet because the sun was going down. I had really no way to dry anything off. So I washed my socks immediately. I was iffy about washing my shoes. I decided not to, just because I figured they would never get the water out by morning. And it'd be cold, and that would have been not good. But I washed my socks out immediately and hung them out on a piece of wood that was up on the beach there by the lake. So they dried okay, but not the darn tough ones. My Injinjis that dried a lot better. They're a lot thinner. So that's what I'm wearing today. So just one sock, and usually I have two. So there's definitely a difference. You definitely feel it, especially because the darn tough do provide quite a bit of support too. But they didn't get quite dry, so they're just hanging off the back of my pack. And they'll get washed today, but it's amazing how not clean things get just by, like washing them in a lake or a sink or whatever. It's like you scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub. And still this morning when I look at them, they're just filthy. So, and it's the same way I feel. Like I dunked my head last night in the lake and just got my hair wet and just let it, swished it back and forth and everything I could, but without any kind of soap. It's just nothing. For a second, it feels a little bit, I don't know, nicer. And there's like this disgusting pool of dirt that comes out from it. But no, it's just not. I wake up this morning and it's just hard as a rock, slick back hair, whatever. It still feels just as greasy and dirty and nasty as ever. Speaking of that, like when I had the mosquitoes back there at Diamond View Lake, I was swatting them, which is the worst thing. I might have said this before. The worst thing about mosquitoes is once you start to see them landing on you, then every feeling on your body you think is a mosquito. So there's a wind, a little bit of wind, and it moves a hair on your arm. That's a mosquito. So you're slapping at it or whatever. Or, especially in the morning like this, you're breaking a bunch of spider webs because spiders have made webs across the trail between trees. And if you're the first one through, or you're taller like me, you're hitting them. And they're hitting your body at different points. So you're dragging this web, which of course does this little tickle on your arm or your leg or your face or your ears or wherever it lands, which, if you've seen mosquitoes, you think is a mosquito. So you're just constantly slapping things that aren't mosquitoes. So, two gross things actually. The worst is slapping the mosquito and having them just explode with blood. I think I said that earlier. It's so bad. It's like, it looks like a wound on your hand. There's so much blood. It's like, how did something that little have that much blood in it? Especially in areas where, like, there's not a lot of other stuff out here to get blood from, like hikers and animals. There's not a ton of either of those. The other gross thing is I kept feeling like an itch behind my ear, and it was a spider web or something that got my ear. So I kept trying to pull it off and pull it off, pull it off. When I finally got it, I kind of felt something behind my ear, kind of like in the crevice back there, which I usually try every night to wipe my face down. I mean, baby wipes, and wipe as much of me down as I can, just to be semi-clean. And I usually try to get behind my ears, and I must not have, or it's just from today. But I scraped this big chunk of dirt or whatever. When I pulled out to look, it's like 2 mashed up dead mosquitoes. So I don't know if that was from earlier today or from a day ago or when, but oh, so gross. So who's hungry? On to breakfast. Okay, we're at the trailhead by Willamette Pass. Met friend CJ at Shelter Cove. Had a massive stack of pancakes, shower, laundry, resupply, all that good stuff. So we got about 8 miles to the shelter. It's like 3 o'clock. Should be no problem. So maybe I'll video some in the shelter. We'll see. It's gonna make for like a high 20 day or so. So. Maiden Peak Shelter. Brought Atlas up here for a house picture when he was super little. Let's see. Right about